What's up everyone, this is the Shadow Sage, and today I'm going to do with a brand new part of What If Naruto is raised and not Myoboku. Remember to hit the like button if you enjoyed to help the video reach the like goal of 7 likes, and when the video reaches that like goal, I'll release the next part, which is part 4. Now let's get into the recap. The previous part of this series, Naruto and the rest of Team 7 finished up the Land of Wave arc, where they defeated Zabuza and Haku, and they also talked no jutsu them and turned them good before they died. And after they arrived back from the Land of Waves, they would register in the tuning exams where they would take part 1 of the test. And in this timeline, everyone did good, and Naruto actually was able to answer some questions because he's much smarter in this timeline. And then they started phase 2 of the tuning exams, and that goes pretty much the same, except this time Sasuke gets the curse mark in a different way. So remember to watch the previous episode to find out how that went down. But he will end up getting the curse mark, and then Orochimaru and Naruto will fight, and that'll go pretty much the same because obviously Orochimaru is a Sannin, and Naruto can't do much against a Sannin. And then Sakura will end up taking care of Naruto and Sasuke, and that's where we left off. Now let's get right into the actual video now. When Sakura sets up camp and takes care of Naruto and Sasuke, like takes care of their wounds and their fevers and stuff like that, the Sound Genin will show up, and like Sakura will cut her hair just in canon instead of like stabbing the person. I don't really know why she cut her hair. Like she would have just stabbed Kin. Like I don't know what she was doing, but whatever. I feel like every time I talk about Sakura, I get so pissed off. Like she was so dumb. But besides that, alright. So Rock Lee will show up and he will fight, and he will get completely cocksucked by Dosu and Zaku. Sasuke will wake up and violate Zaku's arms, and then Dosu will pussy out and give up the scroll. And then Sakura will basically simp for Sasuke and then make the curse mark recede. And then the rest of the training exams will go pretty normally. So they will like meet up with Kabuto and plow through the Rain Genjutsu clones made by Team Obero and take their scroll. And then they'll show up to the final tower right before the time runs out. They're in the tower and Team 7 opens up their scroll. They won't be greeted by Haruka because Haruka won't personally request the Hokage to greet Naruto's team because he doesn't have any emotional attachment to Naruto in this timeline. But they'll be greeted by some like other random ninja. Afterwards, they would go to the sparring arena or whatever it's called, and they will be told that there will be a preliminary round, and that'll piss off like everybody, like in canon. And Kabuto will drop out, just in canon, and then all the matches will pretty much go the same, except, you know, Kiba gets utterly destroyed by Naruto, because Naruto is much more skilled at this point. Like, I feel like Naruto wouldn't, like, go out of his way just to embarrass Kiba, but he'll definitely, like, just take him out easily. And during the Neji vs Hinata fight, Naruto won't be, like, super outspoken and, like, rooting for Hinata. He technically will still be rooting for her, but not to the same extent that he was. Because, like, he doesn't have that emotional attachment. Like, he still has it because he did save Hinata, like, in the first part, but it's not, like, the same extent that it was in canon. But he will stand up for her, like, to say the least. And he will, like, vow to beat Neji for Hinata after, like, Neji completely destroys her. It's also because Naruto kind of sympathizes with, like, the underdog mentality, because, like, he had to train really hard and, like, work really hard to get where he was. Because, as we know, he wasn't like a natural prodigy like Sasuke. He had to work really hard to become strong. And after all the battles, the third Hokage will tell everyone their matchups, and Naruto will be so happy to be facing Neji, and he will vow to beat Neji like in canon. I think I already said that, but whatever. Yeah, he'll vow to beat Neji, and then they'll all go their separate ways and start training. After Kakashi finishes sealing Sasuke's curse mark and putting Sasuke in the hospital, he will tell Ebisu to train Naruto, and this time, Naruto won't really have any objections to training with Ebisu, because obviously he's more mature, and he also, never, like, did the harem jutsu on Ebisu, so really doesn't think that lowly of Ebisu in this timeline, because obviously he never did the jutsu, so, and, like, completely made a fool of him. So he will go in to train with Ebisu, and Ebisu will tell him that his chakra reserves are pretty good, and his chakra control is pretty good, but it still is his, like, weakest attribute. Like, if it was a 1 in canon, it was, like, a 5 now. And Sakura is probably, like, a 7. So, Ebisu will tell Naruto to, like, get it up to a 7. And they'll do that by doing the chakra control exercise, which is walking on water. And I could see Naruto being like 95% there due to his training with the toads. He just didn't get that extra 5% to like really complete walking on water. And that's when they will see Jiraiya peeping. Ebisu will go after Jiraiya, and Jiraiya will completely make a fool of Ebisu and knock him out. And I want to make a note, like, Sakura is not a 7 actually. The more I think about it, her truck control was a lot better. She's obviously like a future medical ninja, so I would say she's around 8 or 9, not a 7. So yeah, I'll fix that. And after seeing his sensei getting knocked out, Naruto will get really pissed like in canon and ask the old man to train him and like who he is. And then Jiraiya will have that big like intro with all the drum roll and say that he's Naruto is just like, what the hell? This man is the legendary Jiraiya that I've heard so much about. He's a pervert. And like Naruto is really underwhelmed, but he does have that like still that respect, that inch of respect for Jiraiya that he didn't have in canon. So he will still call it like Jiraiya instead of the perfect sage in this timeline. But after realizing that this kid is Naruto, he will probably like agree to train Naruto. And he will undo the seal on Naruto like he did in canon, and he will make Naruto do the water walking just perfectly. And they will continue to train like in canon, and Jiraiya will teach Naruto how to siphon off the Kyuubi's chakra like in canon. And in canon he could barely do any, like the amount he used, or the amount he could do, was the amount he used against Neji, which was like barely a sliver. So he'll be able to use a lot more because he's obviously more skilled. So I would say if he used like 1/8, or like he used probably less than like 1/10 of like a tail is what he used in the fight against Neji, he'll probably be able to use 1/4 or like 1/2. I would say yeah, 1/2. You can use half a tail. I think that sounds pretty good. So we'll be able to use half a tail, but he also knows the summoning construct already, so he won't have to practice that. So I feel like Jiraiya would probably teach him the Rasengan, and he's learning it pretty early. So I feel like he would get it down by the end of the month. So I would say he still has around like 3 weeks left at this point. So it took him a month to learn it all in canon. So I feel like after 3 weeks he would be able to learn it. And also I forgot to mention, he won't need a shadow clone, like since he's obviously more skilled and has much better chakra control, like 5 times better, 6 or 7 times better actually after his water walking training. He won't need a shadow clone to do it. For the 1-month training arc, everyone will show up to the arena to start the 3rd phase of the tuning exams, but obviously Dosu won't be there because he's like dead. Like he was kind of dumb to fight Gaara, like what was he thinking? But then also Sasuke won't be there because he was obviously fashionably late, just like in canon. The show will still go on like in canon, and the first fight will be intense. Like it's the Hyuga's Gentle Fist versus Farakume Ta. Like it's gonna be a intense taijutsu battle if you ask me. And so they'll start, and the tension is like pretty strong because obviously they both like want to beat each other pretty bad, and Naruto wants to avenge Hinata, not avenge that because he's not killing Neji, but he will want to like get payback for Hinata. But this time Neji won't go on about his fate and like stuff like that in Destiny because he doesn't see Naruto as particularly weak, but not as strong as him obviously, but he won't see as like Naruto being like a failure and stuff like that. But the fight will still go on with still tension because they obviously don't like each other, despite Neji thinking that Naruto is reasonably strong. So when they start the fight, Naruto will make 50 shadow clones, surprising the audience, and Naruto will just like overwhelm Neji with strength in numbers, but I'd see Neji with the Byakugan being able to fight them, but then like he'll make even more shadow clones, and at this point Neji knows that he can't take on all these shadow clones. He decides to use the 360-degree palm rotation, destroying every single one of Naruto's clone. And then you can hear Tenten from the background winking off Neji's perfect defense. And then like Naruto's just trying to think of a way to bypass this strong defensive ninjutsu. And then while he's doing that, he's gonna talk about like Hinata, and this is when Neji will go on about his fate and destiny and stuff like that. And he'll talk about like his curse mark. And this is when Naruto will talk about like destiny as well and say to make his own destiny, but this time Naruto doesn't have like a really sad background because he was raised from Mount Myoboku, so he won't be able to talk no jutsu as well, but he's still able to talk no jutsu, if you know what I mean. Like this is still Naruto, so talk no jutsu is his #1 weapon, but it won't be as lethal as it was in canon. And to be honest, I feel like it would work against Neji, but it won't work against someone like really like hardcore like Pain or someone like that. And even like Obito, but that's like foreshadowing further on, and I don't want to spoil anything so far. So back to the actual fight. Once Naruto finished talking about jutsuing Neji, he will make 10 shadow clones to make a diversion, and then he will bite his thumb to summon 2 toads. And these toads will be pretty strong. They'll be combat toads. They won't be as like large as Gamabunta or those kind of toads. They'll still have pretty good like ninjutsu and stuff like that. And one of the toads will be a fire type toad, and one of the toads will be an oil type toad. And he will use 10 shadow clones as a diversion and a way to buy time to explain his plan to the toads. And once all the shadow clones are destroyed by Neji, he will hear Ninpo, Bath of Boiling Oil Jutsu. And this is basically the jutsu that Jiraiya uses against pain, and it is basically combining oil, wind, and fire, so it's a pretty deadly combo. But it won't be as strong as Jiraiya's, obviously, because like A, he's not using Sage Mode, and B, he's not a goddamn Sannin, so... But it's still really, really strong, because obviously that's a deadly combo. It's a combination jutsu, and like it's really large. It's a really large flame, and Neji's like, boy, I am screwed. And he'll try using rotation, but he knows he really can't block it with a rotation. And then a large group of Jonin water type ninja, and maybe a few Chunin, they'll come in and they'll use water style to make the flames go out. And it'll take a lot of water sauce, because obviously water doesn't really work well on oil, so you know what I mean. But they will go in and stop the jutsu, and then they'll all like scold Naruto. It's like, yo, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to kill Neji? And like Naruto's just laughing, haha, maybe I went a little overboard, I'm sorry. And then Neji will obviously be disqualified because all the Jonin have to step in, and Naruto wins the fight. And the entire crowd is shocked because they didn't expect the Hyuga prodigy to lose, and they didn't know much about Naruto, to be honest. But it'll be a big shock to the crowd, and the next few battles will go on. They'll be pretty much the same because it's the same matchups, and I have no reason for that changing. And then obviously Sasuke will show up late, and he'll fight Gaara, and his amps will be slightly larger than they were in canon. Not that much larger, because Naruto is a lot stronger than he was in canon, but not like stronger than Sasuke by any means. Probably equal to Sasuke by now, but Sasuke will get a slightly larger amp than he did in canon, but it'll still be close to the same amp. And since Sasuke is pretty similar amps, his fight will go pretty much similar, and he will Chidori Gaara through his Sand Dome shield, and he will make Gaara bleed and make him go absolutely mad, and he'll go on his rampage, kicking off the Konoha Crush arc. I'm gonna end it off there, and I hope everyone enjoyed the video. And if so, remember to like and subscribe and comment, because that really helps the YouTube algorithm out, and it'll help us reach the like goal even quicker of 7 likes. So remember to do your part if you want to see the next episode. Remember to have a great day and stay safe. This is the Shadow Sage signing off.